Hello everyone, welcome to the Storyist. They say that these days people only help other people when they are waiting for something in return. Over the years, humanity has seemed to have slowly vanished. That whenever someone is genuinely helping another person, people immediately think that they are asking for something in return. But the truth is, humanity is still alive, and people who help others without asking for anything in return still exist. Today, I will be sharing with you a story about a family who has proven that humanity still exists when a girl who was left alone in an old house became their unexpected neighbor. Stay until the end of the video to find out what happened. One snowy evening, Ava is walking back to her home. She is a 12-year-old girl who has a pretty face, golden locks of curly hair, golden lashes, and a fair complexion. She is one of the prettiest girls in their town, and everybody loves her for her personality. Ava loves music. What people love about her is that she is good at playing the piano. Whenever there are occasions in their little town, she is always invited to play music for their whole town. They have a pretty close-knit neighborhood, and everybody knows her as Ava, the talented and beautiful girl. Her family is very proud of her as well. Her family, just like their neighborhood, is close to each other. They all live in a big old house with a giant chimney. At least this is how everybody in their hometown describes their family home. The old house has been home to Ava's ancestors way back. Now she is currently living there with her grandmother, her mother, father, 3 siblings, 3 of her aunts and uncles, and their own sets of families. The big old house is painted all white, but it is clearly maintained well, so even though it looks old, it does not look creepy and haunted. The house has 10 huge bedrooms, keeping all of the residents there free to roam around wide spaces. Ava is happily living there with her big family, and she feels like no moment can ever be happier and more satisfying than being inside their huge home with their entire family. However, things are about to go gray for Ava's life, the once always smiling, happy girl who became a grim-looking teenager. As Ava is walking back home from her church choir practice, she spots a huge light from afar. A trail of chill runs down her spine, realizing that the red smoke is coming from the big chimney of their home. Their house has the biggest and most prominent chimney in the neighborhood, so she cannot be mistaken that the red smoke she is witnessing is coming from their house. Realizing what might be happening, she immediately runs down the street to their home. A few blocks from their street, she sees plenty of people around their gate. There is also a fire truck nearby and plenty of firemen. That is when she sees a huge fire engulfing their big old home. Then, the then white exterior of their home is now charred and black, and people around are shouting her family members' names. The fire is so big that the firemen are having a hard time going inside to rescue those inside. Ava's tears start to run down her cheeks as she realizes that her family is still inside the burning home, and she can't do anything about it but stare as their big old house gets defeated by flames. As the firemen successfully kill the fire, they start to enter the home for any survivors. Ava's heart is jumping up and down. She doesn't know what to do or how to feel. She waits patiently with the neighbors outside their gate as the firemen pull out stretcher after stretcher. They pull out a number of people, but none of them are alive. As the fireman pulls out the last victim, Ava cries hard, realizing that none of her family members survived. She starts blaming herself and wishing that she had been there in the fire too. She feels miserable being the only one to have lived. In just the blink of an eye from a huge family, she is now an orphan. But miraculously, the big old home had just had some charred bricks and wooden planks in it. But the whole house is still in good condition. Because of this, Ava manages to live inside the big old home, living and struggling on her own. Some child services tried to take her away, But she refuses, telling them that she would rather sit alone in their old house than abandon it. Ava feels like the home will lose the memories of her family once completely abandoned, and she does not want that to happen. So she chooses to stay in their home rather than go to child services. For some years, her neighbors and other people in the town have not offered her any help. She finds it weird because she thought that her neighbors and the people in their town loved her. She always thought that her neighbors would be the first ones to ask her if she needed any help, as they are the ones who have been good to their family as she was growing up. But it turns out the townspeople were only good to their family because they were generous. She figures out that their neighbors only called them their friends because they always gave them something in return for their friendship, like fresh fruits picked from their backyard or free vegetables from their own garden, or lending them money when they need it. Ava's family has been generous to the whole town for generations. But now that she is the only one left in her family, and because she has nothing else left with her but a few clothes and some money in the bank that her parents have always kept for her, she is no use now to her neighbors and those that her family once called friends. Ava is starting to completely lose faith in humanity, when one day a new family arrives to rent the house that is beside Ava's family's big old home. They seem to be loving and caring for one another. Their family is little compared to Ava's. It has a mother, a father, and 2 little children. They seem to be happy all the time. At night, Ava hears them singing all together after dinner. In the morning, they all have breakfast together. Ava starts secretly watching the family from afar, from a window in her attic. Every morning, she peeks in to see them having breakfast. It is exactly how her mother used to make her pancakes, slightly burnt with a side of creamy scrambled eggs and bacon. She can smell their food, and she longs for the taste of her own mother's homemade cakes and delightful meals. Every morning, she will feel her tears roll down her cheeks because of the memories that the family next door gives her. One day, Ava is surprised to hear a soft knock on her front door. She opens it, thinking that it might be child services again, but she is surprised to see that it's the mother from next door. She is holding a plate of macaroni and cheese. "My son has been seeing you from your attic's window for a week now. I realized that you might be hungry, so I brought you this," the mother calmly says. Ava refuses the food, telling her that she has nothing to give her in return. But she is surprised to hear that the mother is not asking for any. "I just want you to have this. I'm not asking for anything in return," she replies calmly. Surprised, Ava gladly takes the plate of mac and cheese and eats it until she's full. She asks the mother to enter her home, and they have a little chat. "I can't believe you've been living here on your own, and we had no idea all along," the mother says. Ava assures her that she's fine, but the mother asks her if they can take care of her. Ava tells her that she can't leave her house because she doesn't want the memory of her family to die with it. But the lady thinks of a good solution. "How about we take you in, and we all live here as a family? We'll still rent the house next door, but if you really don't want to lose this house, we can move here from time to time," she says with glistening eyes. Ava's heart jumps in joy. She can't believe that a family with a pure, genuine intention of taking care of her without asking for anything in return will come to her life. She thought all along that people will only help others when they need something from them. But witnessing it with her own eyes, she realized that there are still people who help others because they love to. Ava lives with the family until she grows up, and she never feels alone ever again. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story. Stay tuned.